How's it going? This is Brian from Change is Good. In this video, we're going to go through $9,000 in currency. We've got $5,000 $1 bills and $4,000 in fives. We'll be looking for star notes, web notes, fancy serial numbers, birthday notes, printing errors, you name it. I'm going to start with the $5 bills first. When they're done, I'll be back with a recap. Let's get started. All right, the fives are done. Out of 8 bundles, we had 6 finds. We had 4 star notes, 3 of which had 640,000 print runs, one of which was a fairly low serial number. We had one with a 3.2 million print run, a common one. We have one birthday note, January 19th, 1940, and a fancy serial number, 11112662. It's a trinary and a hybrid between a solid and a radar. Okay, now it's time to start the ones. I'm going to hunt them in batches of 1,000 notes at a time. When I'm done, we'll do a recap. Batch number 1, you're up. All right, the first batch of ones is done. Let's check out the finds. We had 4 common star notes with 3.2 million print runs, 1 star note with a 1.28 million print run, 1 star note with a 640,000 print run. That's a little bit better. We had a birthday note, October 28th, 1973. We had a fancy trinary, 63630630, 3 pairs of 63 and a couple of zeros. Plus it's all multiples of 3. And lastly, we had a fancy serial number with 2 sets of different pairs, 14148080. In total, we had 9 finds out of 10 bundles. Not too bad. And now the second batch of 1,000 notes. Let's see what you got. All right, the second batch is done, and it was a great one. Let's check out the finds. We had 10 common star notes with 3.2 million print runs, 1 fairly rare star note with a 500,000 print run. That's a good find. 1 older note, a 1974 series in pretty good condition. We also had some birthday notes. This one's an oldie but a goodie, November 2nd, 1755. This is the date that Marie Antoinette, the last queen of France before the French Revolution, was born. She wasn't very popular, but we got her birthday note. We had 3 other birthday notes as well, November 22nd, 1946, November 12th, 1948, and May 11th, 1968. We had 1 dual date note, which is also referred to as a tombstone note, 1931, 1981. We only had 1 fancy serial number. This one's a hybrid, 32237766. A hybrid between a radar and a binary. In total, we had 18 finds out of 10 bundles. That was a great batch. All right, batch number 3. I hope you've got something to prove. You're up. Well, if batch number 3 had something to prove, as you can see, it proved it. We had a dozen common star notes with 3.2 million print runs. And looky here, a 2013 B Series star note. This note was made in the DC facility, as there's no FW down here by the H. Somewhere out there is a Fort Worth note with the same serial number. They made a big whoopsie, and these notes sell for between $20 and $30 on eBay pretty regularly. This so far is the find of the hunt. We also had 2 birthday notes, April 14th, 1966 and June 29th, 1979. We also had 3 fancy serial numbers. This one is a mixed or broken ladder, numbers 1 through 8, all in mixed order. These are a very low-end fancy serial number, typically selling for between $2 and $5 on eBay, about the same as a common star note. They're not scarce, but there's a small market for these. Lastly, we had 2 notes with trailing 9s, one with 4 9s and one with 5 9s. These are relatively difficult to find compared to the other numbers because notes with multiple trailing 0s and 9s were often pulled out by the BEP employees to be sold as novelty items. In total, we had 19 finds out of 10 bundles, nearly 2 finds per bundle. Folks, it doesn't get much better than that. Batch number 4, please tell me you have something to prove too. All right, batch number 4 is done. Let's check out the goodies. We only had 6 star notes, all of them common with 3.2 million print runs. One of them was an older note, a 1995 series. We had 1 notable date note, October 9th, 1916. This is when the Battle of Onker Heights took place in World War I. We also had a World War II notable date note, June 17th, 1945. On this date, the United States began a B-29 air raid against Japan. We also had 2 mixed ladders, numbers 2 through 9 in mixed order. The top example is in pretty good shape too. We also had 2 fancy serial numbers. This one is a 6 of a kind with 6 6s. Had that 2 at the end been a 7, it would have been a binary repeater. That would have been awesome. And last up is the find of the batch. A true binary note has only 0s and 1s in the serial number. A true trinary note only has 0s, 1s, and 2s. This, folks, is a true trinary radar note, 1220-0221. It reads the same backwards and forwards. This is a great find, even though it's not in the best condition. In total, we had 12 finds out of 10 bundles. Not as much as the last batch, but that trinary radar note more than made up for it. And now batch number 5, the last batch. The pressure's on. Can you handle it, George? All right, the 5th and final batch is complete, and it was a dandy. Let's check out the finds. We had 6 common star notes with 3.2 million print runs. We also had a fairly rare star note with a 500,000 print run, although it's not in the best shape anymore. We also had a notable date note, September 1st, 1799. This is the date when the Bank of the Manhattan Company, founded by Aaron Burr, began business. And we only had one birthday note, and it's a World War II era one, March 11th, 1943. We also had one older note, a 1963 series, and it's in pretty good condition. As for fancy serial numbers, we had 2 mixed or broken letters, numbers 2 through 8, all in mixed order. We also had a fancy trinary, 0885-8858. I normally don't keep trinaries unless they have a good pattern, and this one does. Plus, it's in uncirculated condition. We also had a nice binary note, 909-00099. This is also a flipper note, and flipper notes have serial numbers that can be read upside down as well. And check it out, another trinary radar note, 1061-1601. This serial number reads the same both forwards and backwards. And last up, we have a bill that's a bit off-center. It's still technically within BEP specifications, but it's off-center enough to fetch a few bucks on eBay. In total, we had 17 finds out of 10 bundles. That's a pretty good haul. Now let's do a recap of the hunt. In total, we had 81 finds out of 5,800 bills searched. That's 1.4% of the bills kept. That's about average. Now let's cover the top 3 finds of the hunt. Coming in first place for the best star note, we have this 2013 B series star note in the duplicate serial number range. For more information about these notes, I have a link in the video description. And the blue ribbon for the best birthday note, we have this Marie Antoinette birthday note of November 2nd, 1755. That's a great find. And last up, the top prize for the best fancy serial number, we have this true trinary radar note, 1220-0221. Of course, the binary flipper note and the trinary radar also deserve an honorable mention. This was the first currency search I've done on this channel in about 6 months, and I really missed it. Thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed this content, or maybe learned something new, give the video a thumbs up and subscribe. And if you have any feedback or questions about any of these finds, feel free to leave me a comment, and I'll get back with you as soon as I can. Thanks again, and remember, every bill has a story. And some of those stories, unfortunately, don't end so well. I'll see y'all next time.